Celebrity Interviews, live from the Grotto. Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, and I'm pretty excited to talk to one of my favorite, at least sitcom municipal workers.
So Jim O'Hare joins the program. We all know him from Community and many, many other things. Jim, thanks for stopping by. And I know Greg. So you're a fan of Community then, Greg?
Well, Parks and Rec mostly, but
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I got to correct you here. Was never on Community.
Oh, Parks and Rec. I'm sorry. That's a mistake. So you're a Parks and Rec fan. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. That'll be, gosh, I'm so sorry. Trying to get
Hey,
people
no
to
worries.
producer.
Let me ask you, Jim, real quick. So that show was hilarious. It's got to be a lot of improv there. What's the hardest that you guys laughed on set?
There's first of all, every day we did this thing called a fun run after every time we finished with the scene. So if everybody was happy with it, the director and the writer and everybody, they would say, okay, fun run. And that meant we could do whatever the hell we wanted. And so I can tell you every single day was laughter. Because you're putting improvisers together to have fun. And that's what it was. It was just fun. But I would say one of the all-time infamous bloopers that made us laugh, and it's all over the internet. All you got to do is say Chris Pratt and Kim Kardashian and go to YouTube and you will see that blooper. And so I just said, somebody told me recently it's labeled the #1 blooper ever. So if you haven't seen it, go there. It's a little descriptive. I won't get into exactly what was said, but let's just say we lost it. We lost it big time.
You worked with one of the most all-star casts. I mean, I look at just a clip that he was on when you were doing a television interview for your book and who was in that room. You worked with some unbelievable actors on that show.
To this day, not just the amazing cast, because think about it, we had Amy Poehler, Nick Offerman, Chris Pratt, Rob Lowe, Adam Scott, all these people have done such amazing things before and after Parks, and Retta and Aziz and Aubrey Plaza, like Rashida Jones, just these amazing people. But then we had Bill Murray on the show. We had Catherine Hahn on the show. Like we had Mrs. Obama on the show. Like it was really crazy. When I look back and I think about some of the days that I would be on set and there would be these people that I'd only dreamed about ever meeting, and here I am working with them. I am forever grateful for that. I never take that for granted.
Wow. If you had to pick your one favorite Jerry moment, what would it be?
Well, there's a lot of crazy Jerry moments. I think Amy Poehler was very, very protective of all of us. She was very much the mother of the set. And so the reason I bring that up is, so we're at the table read, and it was the episode, it's called Park Safety, Season 2. And as we're reading the script, in the script, Jerry pretends that he has been mugged because he's so afraid that his office mates are going to mock him for what really happened, which was he fell into a creek because he dropped his burrito. I mean, it was a whole Jerry thing. So, Leslie says to everybody, okay, we got to be good to Jerry. He's been mugged. He's coming in. He's about to do a presentation. Nobody say anything. So, of course, the presentation goes horribly wrong. Jerry trips. He falls. He bends over. His pants rip. He farts. To me, I could do that kind of stuff all day long. But the reason I bring up the Amy thing was she had said after the table read, Jim, are you comfortable with that, doing that? And I said, Amy, I was born for that. So that type of stuff, whenever they gave me the opportunity. But that one in particular scene sticks with me, especially because we had so much fun shooting it. And, because they have to pre-split your pants. They have to do a lot of things to make it happen. And at one point, Amy had said, you know what? I can't laugh anymore. I'm done. Like she was just like, you can't make me laugh anymore, which to me, that's a challenge. So then I had actually set up to do one of the takes without underwear on. So when I split the pants, they were going to get more than just this crazy thing. It never officially happened because right before I did it, the director had heard I was going to do it, and he goes, "Cut!" And he comes in, and he's like, "Jim, do you have underwear on?" I said, "I do not." He said, "Please don't do this. We had lawyers here last week because of Pratt. Because just the previous week, Pratt had done a scene with Amy and Rashida where he was supposed to be naked, and normally you wear like a dance belt or they cover things up. Well, he just went naked, and which was hysterical, by the way. Of course, that was hysterical, but somehow lawyers ended up at his trailer. saying, you can't do this type of thing. And he got like an official warning. So the director was basically saying to me, Jim, don't do this. We've been in enough trouble. So I didn't get to do it, but I told everybody and then they laughed, but I didn't get to do it.
So before Parks and Rec, and then getting this opportunity, I kind of want you to take us back to where you think your biggest roles were before Parks and Rec, and then how did you get the gig?
The roles before, Nick Offerman and I would always say we were very much journeyman actors. We were the guys getting the guest spots, getting the pilot that doesn't go anywhere because most pilots don't. So I was very lucky. Like I moved to Los Angeles in '94. And have never worked another job other than being an actor. So, and believe me, some years were tougher than others, but there was always work. So as far as probably the most, well, it's weird because, I'm known as a comedy guy, but I got to do an episode of Diagnosis Murder with Dick Van Dyke. And I played the most vile, disgusting serial killer. And I loved it. I thought that was the greatest thing. Number one, because it was taking me away from what people know me as. But also just, as an actor, I'm an actor. I love doing all of it, comedy, drama, whatever. And so that one kind of opened doors that weren't open because people saw me as more than just the wacky neighbor or, the best friend, the fat best friend. He's not just that guy. So that was an important booking. I was really happy with that. And then with Parks, the word got out that this untitled Amy Poehler project was going to be happening. And there was a lot of juice around it because for a number of reasons. Number one, Amy Poehler. And number two, it was from the guys who created The Office. And we know what happened to The Office. And so everybody wanted in. And I initially went in to read for Ron Swanson, which ultimately was played by the brilliant genius. Nobody could have done it better, Nick Offerman. But that is what I initially went in for. And I did my version of Ron Swanson, whatever that was. And they liked it enough that when it came time to start filling out other roles, they called me in for Gerry. And what was a little nerve-wracking is generally when I go to an audition, I kind of know who's going to be there, who my competition is going to be. It's going to be guys that look like me. They have kind of a character in their head of what they're thinking. But I showed up to the audition space, and it was everybody. It was fat guys, skinny guys, tall guys, short guys, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. Like they did not know what they were looking for, which that was kind of weird. And then I was trying to figure, I'm like, does this help me or hurt me? My chances. And then I realized I think it hurts me because they have nothing like, at least if they've narrowed it down to the fat white guy. Okay, well, we've narrowed it down to my little group. But then something, in that room, I felt like I did a good job. The Gerry character didn't even exist. They had to make up material for me to audition with because it did not exist because they didn't know what Gerry was going to be. And so I go and I do the audition. I felt good about it, as good as you can. And then a couple weeks later, I got the call that they booked me. And the call also came with a caveat from my agents because they said to me, Jim, they're being very honest with us, and they don't know what this role is, and there's going to be a lot of sitting around. And at this point in my career, there's nothing wrong with being a background actor, but at that point in my career, I was past doing that. I was doing guest spots and supporting roles in films, and so basically my agents were saying, we don't think you should. Not we don't think you should. We think you should really think about this, about whether you want to take this. But for me, Neil, it was a no-brainer because I saw what happened to the supposed background players on The Office because I'm a big Office fan. And I saw what happened to Phyllis and Kevin and Oscar and Meredith and all those amazing characters. So I'm like, oh, no, I'm in. Let's give this a shot. And so they put me at a desk. And then I find out later, because the whole time I'm worried, am I going to be let go? Are they keeping me around? I never knew what was happening at the beginning. And then I find out later that Greg Daniels, who, I interviewed for my book, he said, well, we always knew you were sticking around, because he had said to somebody, put him at a desk. He's funny. Put him at a desk. It'll work out. And so that's how I got the role of Gerry. And every season it became more and more, which was quite the gift.
Well, Jim, that's awesome. let's call this one a dream sitcom crossover. So if Jerry or Larry or Gary, could pop up in another sitcom, either in the past or one present,
Yeah.
uh, which would be
Wow.
hilarious.
Well,
Which one would you love to be a part of?
Oh boy, wow, because I'm a big sitcom guy. I love a sitcom. I love a good sitcom. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know what he could do, but I'd love to run into Jerry and Elaine and Kramer and
Yeah.
George. That would be interesting. Maybe I could screw something up with them. I'm also a little obsessed with 30 Rock. I don't know if you guys are 30 Rock fans, but I would love to
I
have been
am.
involved.
I'm a huge fan of
Isn't
that.
that a great show? And
Because I guess the media side of it, I love it that well.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
You get to see the behind the scenes and the whole game.
Yes,
But
I
that
love
was an
behind the
all-star.
scenes.
That was an all-star cast.
Oh,
too.
totally all star. And I recently shot a commercial for Canva with me and John Lovitz, who played Lovitz on 30 Rock. And the premise was, because we were both the office punching bags. And so with using Canva, we've become the office superstars. So I think it's out there now. I think it's actually airing now. But so yeah, 30 Rock. And boy, but I go back to the old days. Oh my God, Cheers. Like somehow to be on Cheers. I can't even imagine what Jerry would be doing, but that would be amazing. Wow, Married to the More, all those great shows. Archie, I mean, All in the Family. Yeah, I'd love to be on all of them now that I think about it.
Cool.
See, Greg, that's an amazing question. I'm sure you have a follow-up from that, Greg.
Well, it would actually be if you could create your own show
Yeah.
and you star in it as your own show, what would it be? Who would you cast? And what other co-stars would you have along with you?
Well, here's what I'll say about that. Because many people have said, man, wouldn't you love your own show? No, 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 no. What I love, what I have always loved and continue to love is an ensemble show. But yeah, I mean, say like in our show, Parks and Rec, we were an ensemble, but you had, Amy Poehler as Leslie Knope was certainly the lead. So I guess if it was that kind of show, wow, my dream cast. Oh boy, I just want to bring the Parks cast back together. But if it has to be people outside of Parks, wow. First of all, I go back to some of my favorite shows. I think Alec Baldwin is a brilliant comedic actor. The stuff he did on Will and Grace, the stuff he did on 30 Rock, I'd love to work with him.
Oh, I would too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love that on my show. You're getting Greg and I, we have a list I'd love to interview because they're so amazing to have those conversations with the stories, and
so many stories behind the scenes and stuff. So yeah. Also, there's an actress. She was on Parks and Rec. She recurred called Joan, and she played Joan Calamezzo. Her name is Mo Collins. I would love to do a show with Mo Collins. Yeah, there's the list. The list is endless. But yes, I would. I'd love to do another ensemble show. I love the ensemble feel, which like a Cheers. That's an ensemble show. Yeah. MASH. These are shows where everybody was important. It wasn't just the one. So yeah, I don't know if it's because I don't want the pressure of being like the face of a show. But I think there's nothing better than ensemble.
I'd love to see Jerry stumble onto Get Smart, like from when we were kids.
Yes. And putting up the phone, putting up the shoe to his ear. Yes, I would love that. And Agent 99 might have, she might give Gail a run for her money. Yeah.
That's right.
So after Parks and Rec was finished, that it's like, you get your dream show. What do you do next? We're going to get to the book because I'm sure at that point, but I'm just really intrigued because it's like I talked to so many athletes move on. What do you do next? Or you have this big one role. Yeah. I was talking to Jeremy Miller and he literally said, did I get typecast? And he said, not at first, but then later I did. That it's hard when you get that show, that dream show.
It's exciting when it's ending. It's sad because it was such a great experience. So like I've been on shows where I couldn't wait till they were over. Like I was like, okay, see ya. Parks was not that. It was nothing but tears and it was a mess when we were leaving. But yes, there was a concern. Am I now Jerry for the rest of my life? Which is that weird, you know, it would be a good thing, bad thing. Like if that had happened, if I could never work again because I'm Jerry, that would have sucked. Just because I love working, I love being on set. Anyone who knows me knows my happy place is a soundstage. So that would have been tough if there was no more work after that. On the other hand, if that's if Jerry Gergich is who I am known for, and really will always be known for that role, but like I couldn't do anything else, it's not a bad role to go out on. He was a pretty great guy and on a really great show. That being said, so Parks ended, and it's like, yeah, what do I do? So we're getting lots of offers, comedy, 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 comedy. Again, great, love comedy. It's paid my bills for a lot of years. But then a friend of mine had written a movie for me many years ago, and it was called Middleman, and it's dark. It's dark. It's dark, and it's dark, and a lot goes on in this film. And he had always wanted to make it, but we never had the power to have it happen or the money or anything like that. Well, then after Parks, all of a sudden, he's out there pitching it again, and now because of my notoriety from the show, now there's interest. So some producers came on board, and we shot a film called Middleman right after Parks, and it was at the time, I've done something tougher since, but it was the toughest show I'd ever shot, the toughest film I'd ever worked on. And I was in, I think, everything but 3 scenes. So this one was all me. But I got to work with Andy Hawks and Josh McDermott, who's now on Suits LA, and Andy Dudek. But it's such a dark film. But so we shoot it. It starts making the festivals, and then we start winning. I'm getting Best Actor here, Best Actor there. The film won the Seattle Film Festival. So it was great. It was great. It was exactly what I needed to say, I am not Jerry Gergich. I'm Jim O'Heir. I'm an actor. I can play Jerry, but I can also play this crazy bastard on this film called Middleman. And I just recently shot a film in Spain last July, and that was without a doubt the hardest thing I've ever done, physically, emotionally, across the board, the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's going to start hitting the festivals soon, and it's the advanced word is it's really good. So I'm really proud of that too. So I don't know. The fear was I would be typecast. I haven't been. I'm sure roles have missed me because they were like, oh, he's Jerry, and the people couldn't see me. And I can't fight that other than put me in a room and let me audition. There was a role I did once, which I know they had turned me down initially because the powers that be said, oh, because somebody mentioned Jim O'Heir, and they said, oh, Jerry from Parks? I don't see it. And then they sent him pieces from the film Middleman. And they said, oh, yeah, that's our guy. So what makes me crazy in the business is, God forbid we think people can do more than what they did. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name from Gilligan's Island? Bob Denver.
Yeah.
He'll tell you it destroyed his career. He's Gilligan, and that's silly. He's an actor who can do other stuff. So anyway, it's a long-winded answer to say, yes, I was concerned. Thankfully, I didn't get typecast. And the biggest project I did right after that was just very smart, was a film called Middleman.
Cool.
Boy, can I ramble. I just realized that went on for 5 minutes, and you asked one simple little question.
But you're so good at it. It's
Well,
not a good ramble.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. We get to sit down and watch. Sometimes people ramble for no reason, but the answer was fantastic.
Oh,
and
good.
It's intriguing. It's just to know your career and know for fans of yours. Go ahead, Greg. What question you have next?
Not my last question, of course.
No. Keep going.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're too funny. So you've guest starred in, I don't know how many shows over the years, tons of them, right?
Many.
Yeah. Besides,
I
Jerry,
think it was Seth. It was either Seth Meyers or Jimmy Kimmel when I sat down to do one of the interviews. The first thing they said to me, they just looked and they go, "What show haven't you been on?"
Yeah.
So I have been on. I've been on a lot of shows over the years. Yeah,
no, it's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Well, besides Jerry, which I'm sure fans run up to you all the time, was there another like supporting role or cameo that you were in where people really recognize you from when they see you in public?
Well, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I played this what seemed to be at first a very sweet, like kind of Southern cop who turned out to be just this homophobic piece of crap. So I get called out on that one. But I will tell you, I had an incident happen not all that long ago, and it's embarrassing. But so this girl comes up to me and she goes, "Jim, I loved you," and I assume it's going to be about Parks because generally it is. And she goes, I said, "Oh, thanks," and she goes, "Yeah, I just loved you in Criminal Minds," and I said, "Oh, you know what? I think you're confusing me with somebody else. I never did a Criminal Minds." And she said, "Yes, you did." I go, "No, I'm sorry, I didn't do." She pulls out her phone, goes to IMDb. "Yes, I did do a Criminal Minds. I totally forgot about it." And not only in Criminal Minds, it was the penultimate series finale. Like it was a very important episode of Criminal Minds. So I'm embarrassed, and yet it's the gift that because I work a lot, and that is such a gift that I'm so grateful for that I actually forgot about it. And then as she's pointing it out, I'm like, oh God, yes, I was Sharon Lawrence's attorney, and anyway, it all came back to me. But I've done a lot of them, and I get recognized from Friends a lot. I did an episode of Friends in their final season, and it's funny because when I did that Friends, I was just there for a week, and David Schwimmer he was directing the episode, which I love when an actor directs because they know what we're looking for. Like they get it. They're not just about camera angles, which is all important stuff, but they also know what an actor's looking for. So anyway, I remember being there that week, and I had worked with Matt LeBlanc before because we both did a terrible film called Ed many, many years ago about a monkey playing baseball, and anyway, it was awful. So I show up on set, and Matt's there, and I hadn't seen him in years, and he's like, "Oh, what do you blah, 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 blah." And he introduces me to everybody. He goes, "Hey, Jim was in my shitty movie." Because they had all, when Friends took off, they were being offered everything. It was the hottest show, and these young actors and whatever. So they all ended up doing some pretty bad films. So anyway, but what I took away from that week was, wow, these people, they really are friends. These are people who care about each other. They were having lunch together. And this is after 10 years. This wasn't like the first season and they're all still liking each other. And I remember thinking, oh boy, this is the dream. This job is the dream. Not only is it a good show, but everybody gets along and they really seem to be enjoying themselves. To me, that was the fantasy. And then through whatever miracle, I lived that fantasy for 7 years because that's exactly what I had on Parks. I had these friendships, this quality of work that opened up so many other doors. The doors that it's opened, I'll be forever grateful. Forever grateful.
Phenomenal.
Hey, such great questions, Greg. And I'm going to let you have another one because, and again, Parks and Rec. I can't believe I get them mixed up. I'm sure it's just like Daffy and Donald. I did it one other time before. I had the voice of Donald Duck, and it said, "Let's welcome the voice of Daffy Duck."
I remember that.
I see. I at least can admit that, but you see, Jim, I can go with the flow. But
I get you.
I'm trying to get the last guest off the air, and we're going live again. I'm like, I don't have Jim's number. I'm deep. I better get him on quickly. And that's the producer hat I have to wear, not just the host hat.
You're doing it all, Neil. You're doing it all.
But good, Greg, with I guess one more question before the final.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, Jerry in Parks and Rec, he, excuse my dog, he had a lot of hidden talents, right? Great painter, singer, and so on.
Yes.
Do you have any hidden talents that your fans don't know that you feel like sharing?
Wow, hidden talents. Some would say I have no talent. You should read some of the reviews over some of the things I've done over the years. Well, Jerry and I don't know if you remember this episode, but there was a doctor who let the world know that Jerry had the largest penis he had ever seen. And just so you know, how that came to be was one of the writers was next to me at the urinal. And let's just say he was inspired. So I don't know. Is that a secret? Is it out there for the world to know? Whatever. Take that as you will. But no, as far as the hidden talent, wow. I can watch endless hours of television and not get up and go to the bathroom. Is that a talent? Is that I can eat absorbent amounts of food. while watching said television. Is that a talent? Yeah, no. Sadly, Greg, I have none. I think I have no hidden talents other than I have a very large tongue, a very large tongue. And so it's a talent in only one area.
All right. Well, sounds
And
fantastic.
you can go along
And
with that. as
we're
you
going to go. This is really going into less tweet to a little bit more. So go, Greg, with your final question.
Sure. That's awesome, Jim. Now that I can stop laughing, so tell me, Jim, serious now for a sec. What do you feel is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
Wow. A couple things. Number one, don't take it all so serious. Oh boy, when I think about younger and certain relationships and jealousies that I look back now and go, oh, what a waste of time that was, and what a waste of anxiety. And yeah, just let some stuff just roll off. Also, as far as showbiz goes, if we want to go in that area, Amy Poehler taught me a very important lesson, and it's the word no. The word no is really, really important. We have to watch out for ourselves, whether it's our emotional state, our financial state, our work environment, whatever. The word no is really, really powerful. And because of Amy, I've made some really smart choices by saying the word no. I'm a people pleaser by nature, I think to a default, and to my detriment. So I've gotten better about that because you don't have to please everybody. Not that you can be selfish. I'm not a selfish dude, but I've learned that it doesn't always have to be about everybody else. It can be about me sometimes. So I think that's an important lesson.
All right. Well, Jim, we really appreciate it. Best place people can connect with you. Where can they go?
Oh boy,
your book.
Oh, the book. Welcome to Pawnee. Stories of Friendship, Waffles, and Parks and Recreation. That's kind of everywhere. That came out last November. We made a bunch of the bestseller list. The paperback, we're going to be promoting the paperback soon, which is awesome. If nothing else, if you like Parks and Rec and you don't want to read a book, get it for no other reason than the cover. The cover of the book is pretty amazing. I take very little credit for it because I'm not an artist, but what they did with the cover of the book for fans of the show, I've had people say to me they bought two books, one for me to sign and one to take the cover and frame it. It's that amazing. So yeah, and then I'm on the socials, Facebook, on Instagram. I think it's The Real Jim O'Hare because people steal people's names. I don't know why they do that. The Real Jim O'Hare. Yeah, I'm kind of out there doing my thing.
We appreciate it, Jim. Thanks again.
This was fun, you guys. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, that was a special simulcast Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto. Greg, Hanna, guys. Take care.